And I feel like singing in your regional language gives a different kind of a texture to the kind of music. Your influences would be rock, jazz, or whatever. It gives a different texture. It is a good fusion, I would say.
This is Radio City Indie, and we are back this November. And guess what? Who is joining us as the artist of the month this time? Give it up, one and all, for Parvaz. Welcome, Khalid Ahmed. Welcome, Fidel. Welcome, Sachin. And we have a new member. We have Bharat. So, firstly, clap, clap, clap for you guys. Um, this is a huge moment indeed because it's been 2 years and it's been such a long wait since we last heard Kun. Firstly, that album only took such a long time, to come out. And when it finally did, and the pandemic came, and everything has, been such a, worldwide ride till then. And now finally the band is coming, you know, all guns blazing. They've announced a full circle tour. And I think, it's only ironical that, they call this tour called Full Circle. Of course, the band has their perspective, which we will get into during the course of the interview. But personally, Parvaz, for me, why I know I will be able to relate to this term called Full Circle Tour, let me just quickly share my journey as a fan with the band. When I joined Radio City 5.5 years back, of course, I had learned, I knew about indie music superficially. I knew about, the popular bands from the 90s and early 2000s that I had grown up listening to. But it was Parvaz, it was Beparwa, the wonderful song from Baran that got me introduced to this whole gamut of independent talents that we have in our country today. And that speaks largely about how, the kind of impact you have had in our young minds, it's been 8 years since you all have been together as a band. You all have totally defined the rock scene in Bangalore. You all have grown up to define the independent scene at large in India. And Parvaz for me was like I said, was the introduction to this whole whirlpool of independent talents that we have. And today now, after 5 years of having witnessed so much growth in the independent scene, I'm sitting here talking to you, and this can't get more full circle than that. So firstly, thank you so much for having such a profound influence on my musical tastes, and many congratulations to you people on, the kind of journey that you have had as a band. It's beyond commendable. So I think we can take a moment and just clap for the band. So I want to firstly begin by asking, what does coming full circle mean to the band now that you're all set for a multi-city tour?
We wanted to do this tour earlier this year, but as soon as the pandemic started back in 2019, all of us were scattered at different places, and nobody knew what to do, what not to do in this pandemic, because it was the first time that has happened in our lifetime. So I went back home. Sachin was here, Fidel was here, and though Kashif had left the band at that point in time, and once I came back to Bangalore in 2020, this is when we were looking for to get back to the live music and start more than live music, to start making new music, as a band again. And then that's when we found out Bharat, because I knew him through a friend. He was a friend who gave before. And glad that he accepted to join Parvaz and form this full circle for us. We were supposed to do this tour earlier, but the second wave came and it didn't happen. But I'm glad this is happening now.
Yeah. Basically, I think even for the audience, it's kind of everyone has their own perspective about what this was. Like for you, it has been a story. I think for a lot of audience who wanted to watch us when we were supposed to go on a cool tour, the album tour, which didn't happen right just before the pandemic. So now people are just, their first concert is going to be Parvaz. So it's kind of like a full circle. So
Internally full circle for the band as well. It's a nice thing.
So basically, our manager came.
Parvaz, I think Beparwa from Baran was truly the defining moment for you as a band? Of course, you had been making music from, I guess, 2011 or 2010,
Okay.
from 10. But and of course, Baran came out in 2014, which took a good 4 years in making. And then Kun happens 5 years after that. Of course, in between both the albums, there was Color White and there was Shad, the two singles that you all released, to keep your fan base engaged. Um, but it speaks so highly about the dedication of you as a band, that you all are not chasing metrics. Y'all are not chasing popularity, which is something, unfortunately, most bands and artists get sucked into this whole paraphernalia about acquiring immediate success. But you as a band really, I mean, every composition, in respect, irrespective of which, whether it's a part of an album or whether it's a single, but every composition is such a unique process in itself. So was it always a conscious effort? Because I believe in an interview, I think Khalid even said that a lot of time was spent in just merely procrastinating. So if I may ask, how does Parvaz function when they're working on a composition? What is the set pattern? Is there a set pattern in the first place, or if there is?
I would say, so I think there's not a set pattern, and how we write songs. Sometimes it's like we go to a jam room where somebody has an idea and puts it across, then we jam towards it. Or sometimes like I have a melody in my head which I compose on an acoustic guitar, and then you present to the band, and they put their ideas, and that's how it's formed. And it's mostly the music first, then the lyrical part of it. We also tend to write lyrics in such a way so that it does make sense, what we and stay relevant, and what we are experiencing. But to be honest, it's not even conscious effort. Who doesn't want to earn the money? I honestly do want to make money as well, but I don't want to compromise with the kind of music I'm making. That should remain pure and as good as it is from the day one. So we've been thankful. We've been thankful that a lot of people have appreciated our music, and still we find new faces, new people, listening, discovering our music coming in these days. And I hope they do the same in the coming future as well as enjoy. That's the plan.
Let's talk about language, Parvaz, because I believe a majority of the songs are either written in Urdu or there's a Kashmiri influence and Hindi. And y'all are very famous in a city where Hindi is not really prioritized as a second language in the first place. So how sure were you when y'all started out that if y'all performed in Urdu and Kashmiri and Hindi, there was still a connect? Because Bangalore is a melting pot of different, different language speaking people. So how did you know that this was a democratizer? I mean, if you all performed in Urdu or in Kashmiri, there was an audience willing to listen, irrespective of whether they understood or not.
Well, honestly, we had no idea when we started. We had no idea that. But these to be honest, like these were the only two languages, three languages. Like we would, if we have to express our emotions, if we have to express ourselves, our writings, these are the best languages we can communicate to. And it's it's true to us. If we are from this part of the country, this is what we are, and that's how it came. And when we went to start playing gigs in Bangalore, and like people started liking our music, and for them and for me as well personally, I feel like music comes first. If you have good music, people will tend to know what this actually means. What he's trying to speak.
I mean, in the band itself, three of us don't understand the language. No, like we don't understand. Now we do understand it, but I think the music has been a big part of it.
Yeah, and people all around the country as well. See, like as Sachin has said, like people are from different cultures, and nobody knows how to speak Kashmiri. It's just me who speaks Kashmiri, but if within a band we enjoy it because it has its own sound. So music comes.
It only reminds me of the fact that there are rappers thriving in different cities, and they may not technically belong to the native state, but still they take so much pride in performing in their tongues. And yet I think when it's like I once spoke to an artist, and they rightly said that if what I'm saying, if the intent beneath that resonates with the audience, then it really doesn't matter what language am I performing in. Do you believe in that?
I mean, we do listen to a lot of bands which we don't understand.
Right.
We listen to a lot of Abhiyal, which sings in Malayalam. So I don't think the language is a barrier for any music. It's
Right.
the music that you kind of like first, and then then you start discovering what that lyrics means.
And I feel like singing in your regional language gives a different kind of a texture to the kind of music. Your influences would be rock, jazz, or whatever. It gives a different texture to it. It is a good fusion, I would say.
So if I may ask the members of the band, because y'all have been making music, it's, Parva started out as a college band, and then through the multiple gigs that y'all have done in your journey, in your evolution as a band, of course today you are where you are. But if I may ask, before you all started out, who are your early influences, or whose work did you admire so much? If I may ask the influences of the band, each one can take turns in listing out their influences.
Sorry, a lot of music that we are always listening to, in fact, is also like what you might call some vintage sounding music. Bands from the 60s, most likely bands from the 60s. There's a whole side of people around listening to all kinds of music. So even, for example, there's John McLaughlin, who at that point had tried something very interesting by working with Indian classical musicians.
Yep.
Usually I do little. I think as a band we always have this like season of one artist that we kind of really gel together with. And somewhere is in the radio or it could be Floyd or Zed, Zeppelin. I mean, we don't have anything specific that we listen to, but I think these are the three influences I think we have in common.
Then we started as a band.
Then we
We heard a lot of Floyd, a lot of these classic songs, but then we also want infused with different music that is coming up around the world. Whether it's Fleet Foxes or whether it's Tinari Rain, or whether it's Arjuna also. What are your influences?
My influence is a lot of guitar players. For sure. That's what I started with. Then I think after getting into the indie scene, you guys, because I pretty much on the same time.
When we
Yeah.
started.
Yeah.
No, that's
So also fan of Parvaz. After the indie scene started, my mind just exploded.
Yeah.
So, started taking it down.
Yeah, there's a lot of indie bands also.
Yes, actually, my next question was coming to that. If I may ask the band, you guys are like the favorites of so many artists that I've spoken to in my 5-year journey at Radio City. Whether it's the Yellow Diary, whether it's Ankur Tiwari, whether it's Local Train, so many bands that you might just be at par with, so many artists that you've been at par with have always listed you as your favorites. But if we can ask Parvaz, who do they love listening to from the independent music scene in India?
I think Tarzan Junaid, Black Stripe Blues, Abhiyal, with that one album still
Actually, our boy plays in a band called
Cinema of Excels.
Yeah.
Coming in. And actually, I think more about music is about so we all play in the same festivals, so we kind of know each other very well, most of us. And it's, I mean, we all listen to each other. So
There's a band called Bole Bhai as well.
Oh, Bole.
And he's right. Sachin is right. We tend to play. There's like some bunch of festivals which you can count. So 5-10 festivals. Whenever they call artists from different regions, we tend to know each other, and we know each other's music. And I feel more than it's like a small group of people. I would say it's a small industry, and I would say like everybody knows each other, and even if they don't talk about it, the social media there is what is that? Yeah, so more than that, they're like good friends and good humans.
I must say this sense of oneness and this sense of community that I always feel with independent artists. It's very, very infectious. Parvaz, let's talk about the universal themes that you explore in your compositions, whether it's you're talking about identity crisis, whether you're talking about social issues, whether you're talking about existential crisis in in some of your compositions. Is there a pressing issue that you feel hasn't been explored across art forms, whether it is through film or through poetry or through music? Something that hopefully Parvaz um, looks for to initiate conversations around through their music? Is there something that you all
Well,
want to
I
explore?
think that our like conscious effort has never been like if we have any specific issue or something is happening. It's what you feel like on day-to-day basis. If some issues, affect us and we tend to like it, I better be honest about it. I don't want to be that kind of want to be who, just for the sake of this. If this issue should be talked about, you know, because I feel like it doesn't come out in a way it should come out.
Right.
It has to be genuine, and then it does affect people, and then it does make it impact. And that's just me talking about that. I don't know.
And also, I mean, that's how people see our song. Everyone has their own interpretation. We might be not talking about it at all, but they see it in a different context. So
Yeah.
we consciously don't, never had a theme that we should talk about. So
See, whatever we felt like we've always written about that, whether it be paper also talks about materialistic world, whether it be, you know, so many like I think I said about missing home, about some poetry of Manju Gulshan, which talks about creating a better world for the coming future, things
Yeah.
like that.
but that's the whole point that each song can be interpreted in so many ways. So
For each listener, it can be different. We always tend to do writings in better so that it becomes personal to the listener.
Of course, Bangalore really adores you. Bangalore's independent scene has a special place for you in their hearts. But if I may ask, which has been the most overwhelming um, crowd presence that you have enjoyed as a band with City?
I think these apart from these metro cities like where people come for like Noah Music, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. Which for us, Chandigarh was quite a surprise. Remember, like few years back when we went there, we didn't know that somebody will listen to independent music there or will appreciate the kind of music we. So we went there and we had one hell of a night. And since then, we have been going every year, so almost like not been able to go from last to pandemic. Yes, but yeah, it's been a great experience for us.
so that's the reason we included that. But apart from that, yeah, I mean, as we have mentioned, the metro cities have been always great. I mean, there's an appreciation.
In Ahmedabad, I would also say like Ahmedabad, we are in a great area. You never tend to know like where music takes you. For especially for live bands, you might have a gig somewhere in a small town and you will find somebody listening to your music because it's on internet, it's free, you go and listen.
Yeah, I mean, just the difference is that these metro cities have the capacity to have gigs in their cities. So when we go to like literally a place where there's not many to meet something, it's kind of really surprising at times. That's what happened.
Yeah.
Never expected to happen.
Let's talk about the kind of post production, the qualitative post production that has gone into the making of Kun. And I'll tell you how dedicated the band is for the viewers who are watching us. I remember Parvaz was awarded as the best rock act back at I think guess in 2018 when they were making this album. We had invited the band to come and be a part of the Radio City Freedom Awards with us. And I remember their manager telling me, "We wish we could come, but we are here at Rashtraj Studios, completing the recording, doing all the post dubbing." And this actually is the truest testament about the band, that about why they don't chase recognition of any sort. For them, it's their craft, and I guess that is why they enjoy the kind of success that they do. And also, the reach of Kun has gone way beyond just being a musical release, because two of the songs have featured in the Netflix feature film Guilty. First of all, how did that happen? How did that collaboration happen? Because right now, for a lot of independent artists, I guess OTT has become a huge playground for them. It's become a huge, opportunity to score big, to to make that shift from the studios to a bigger picture of sorts. If I may ask the band, how did that collaboration fall in place? How did the makers of Guilty, or the music team behind Guilty, approach the band for these two songs?
I think it was when we were recording this, we were almost done with the recording Kun, and I think Ankur Tiwari was coordinating with Yash Raj for the film, and he wanted one of the songs to be featured on it. He even wanted us to come on the, be part of the film for the shoot, but unfortunately we had some other gigs that we couldn't make it. He with help of
Basically, some Dhruv Jagas and we met together and they discussed. But they actually wanted a fresh new song,
Yeah.
and which was in the vibe of Zindan and Shaba. And we did actually send them a recording of new song, but we just preferred they just always wanted to have Shaba. So we just went ahead with that, which kind of was a logically just made sense to use it. And that's what.
Yeah, I think it was you and who had a meeting about that thing and coordinated, and we were supposed to make a new track for that. We even started working on that, but then they simply said that we want Shaba and Zimbabwe, and because of the time frame, this film was about to get released in certain time frame. But it's not just for us. I feel a lot of doors have opened for a lot of independent musicians. With these OTT platforms are giving the platform for your music to be played on those films or series for the mass audience.
Right.
Sing Deal has become a big, huge thing in this. It should have been done before, but I'm glad it's never.
Better late than never. Lastly, Parvaz, if I may just ask, what are the big plans from now? Of course, this Full City tour is also a sort of a promotional tour for Kun, and it's also your way of reaching out to the audience, and this is a kind of a hug back to them and embracing them all over again, embracing this whole gig life that the band has waited for patiently for 2 years. But what next?
We're going to start making some big changes in the band in terms of scheduling and stuff. But on a serious note, we have already started just experimenting a little bit in the jam room while rehearsing for the tour, and we have maybe two or three some tracks, some ideas that we are working on. I think right after the tour we're gonna focus more on that.
Yeah.
Get back there and work that out.
Absolutely work on that and give some music out hopefully by end of this year, beginning.
Just give it just to warm up. Just hear that we're still here.
We still exist, and we have started working on it.
Can't wait for all the wonderful music coming our way. All I can say is best of luck, Parvaz, and I can't wait to see you live. I am definitely there for the Bombay gig. I already have my ticket in hand with me, so I hope to see you and maybe get a picture with you, because this is an eventual culmination, I guess, of events for both of us. All the very best for your multi-city gig tour, and all I can say is onwards and upwards. Or as Ankur Tiwari always likes to put it across, Zindabad.
Thank you. See you soon. Bye bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Radio City.